Name is Erica Shore,
I'm 28.
and I was born into a family that's mastered the art of pretending. On paper, we're an upper-crust California dynasty, trust funds, legacy vineyards, and weddings that make it into society magazines. But while my sister Ainsley was groomed for spotlight perfection, I was the family's ghost, the quiet one, the one they forgot to frame in the family portrait over the fireplace. I studied criminal law, not etiquette. I spent holidays working pro bono cases while Ainsley learned to toast with champagne and close deals over brunch. I've always known I didn't belong, but I told myself that was okay until my father died and nobody looked me in the eye at the funeral. I tried to move on. I even got engaged. But then the wedding invitation came, and with it, a secret so dangerous it made me question not just who I could trust, but who was already planning to bury me next. The invitation arrived in a navy blue envelope with gold calligraphy and a wax seal that pressed against my fingers like a warning. Ms. Erica Shore, guest of Mr. Mason Beck. Formal. Cold. Like a tax notice. Mason looked up from his laptop, half a smile playing on his lips. You gonna go? I didn't answer right away. The envelope was heavier than it should have been. Ainsley never did anything lightly. It's just a wedding, Mason said. You've faced bigger things. But weddings aren't just weddings when they're hosted by people who pretended you didn't exist for the past year. I guess, I murmured, slipping the card into my pocket. My hand stayed there a beat too long. 2 days later, I found the voicemail. I'd been scanning old digital files in my dad's backup drives, cataloging his work for probate court. He'd never used passwords, just codes hidden in file names. And there it was. Voicemail _0425_C, v.mp4.
Connor Valley.
My sister's fiancé. The message was short, clipped, and spliced like a ransom tape. Don't let her speak.
She's not part of the plan.
Keep it clean this time. Then a faint clicking sound, like a lighter, or a gun cocking. I slammed the laptop shut. Mason was in the kitchen, stirring his black coffee like he had something to confess, but didn't want to say it out loud. I watched him too long. He didn't blink. Everything okay? He asked.
Yeah, I lied.
Work stuff. The wedding was set for Shorelight Estate. Private. Forest surrounded. No press, no outside vendors. Ainsley's kind of stage. Mason booked the hotel room without asking. 2 nights, vineyard view. He even picked out my dress, pale slate blue, backless, elegant. It matches your eyes, he said. It matched the bruises you can't see. 3 nights before the wedding, I checked Mason's laptop while he was in the shower. Password, EB0726, my birthday.
Goo.
Inbox empty. Downloads clean. But in his trash folder there was a thread, labeled cvlegacy.pdf. I clicked. It opened to a draft merger agreement between Vale Industries and a company my father co-founded, now dissolved after his death. There was a clause titled, Asset Absorption upon Shareholder Termination. My father had been the final shareholder. Terminated. The water stopped. I closed everything, shut the lid, and walked away. Morning of the wedding. Clear skies. Air thin and razor-sharp. We drove in silence past the gates of Shorelight. Mason tapped his fingers on the steering wheel like a man waiting for a countdown to start. Erica, he said, let's not make today about old wounds. I turned slowly. Why'd he say that like someone's already planning to cut new ones? He didn't answer. Inside the estate, guests whirled in soft music and gardenia perfume. Crystal flutes clinked. My mother, Lenora, walked past me without stopping, her gray silk dress floating like fog. Ainsley gave me a smile that didn't touch her eyes. You came, she said. I nodded. Wouldn't miss it.
She leaned in.
Try to behave. Then she was gone, absorbed into a perfect tableau of white roses and silver forks. Mason disappeared to check in with the planner. I stood alone near the entrance. That's when I noticed it. My name, not on the seating chart. Instead, a white-gloved attendant handed me a slip. Table 19. Rear wing. I walked. Past cousins, judges, CEOs. All the way to the back. Behind a massive marble pillar covered in vines, beside the emergency exit, was my seat. One chair.
No te mates.
There was no place card. Just a folded napkin with my name handwritten in pencil. The pillar blocked the entire view of the altar.
Behind me, the music began.
Violins. Laughter. A white veil flashed past. Mason stood up, laughing beside Ainsley at the head table, like he belonged there. He didn't look back at me once. If I was just a guest, why did it feel like I was walking into a trap?
Đã dùng 70% bộ nhớ nơi hết bộ nhớ, thì bạn không thể lưu tệp vào đời dài hoặc sao lưu vào Google Photo.
A breeze from the kitchen vent tickled the back of my neck. Cold, metallic, sharp. Like a warning. Table 19 wasn't just at the back, it was behind a structural column so wide I couldn't see the altar or the stage. Just ivy-covered stone and the occasional sliver of a white tablecloth through gaps in the leaves. I sat alone. One chair. No plus one. Not even a water glass. Must be a mistake, I muttered. But it wasn't. It never is, not in my family. Every sleight is a chess move. Somewhere behind the flowers and violin strings, Ainsley was walking down the aisle. Mason was likely smiling. I couldn't see them. Maybe that was the point. You know, when people hide the truth, they usually dress it up first. The voice came from my left. I turned. He wore a charcoal suit. Face too relaxed for someone at a high society wedding. His eyes held something ancient, like he'd already seen how this ended. Who are you? I asked, sharper than intended. Rob Caldwell, friend of the groom. He gestured to the seat beside me, not a sign, just there. He sat. I didn't move. You're Erica, right? He said. I froze. He leaned closer. The one they don't talk about. A second passed. I stood up.
So, did he?
You should watch the planner's clipboard, he added, voice low. Names that are missing are often more dangerous than the ones that appear. Before I could reply, he disappeared into the crowd like smoke. I made my way back through the estate corridors. The sound of clinking glasses and laughter echoed like a sick joke. The bridal room door was ajar. I looked in. Empty. Just makeup scattered, champagne half-finished, and a silk bag labeled ANSLEY lying open. Inside, documents. Half of me wanted to turn away. The other half pulled a folder out. Prenup agreement.
Signed.
Notarized. Clause 4.3. Full asset consolidation upon spousal demise. Spousal. Connor's assets, yes. But also my father's trust? I flipped the page. The second signatory, Lenora Shore. My mother. My fingers went cold. A photo slid out from between the pages. Ainsley. Connor. Lenora. Smiling. In front of Shorelight Estate. Dated 6 months ago. 3 days before my father's death. I backed out of the room. Someone was watching. I felt it. That primal weight in your chest when eyes are drilling into your spine. I turned. No one. Or so it seemed. The reception was already in full swing when I returned. My mother raised a toast. To legacy. To union. To families that protect what matters most. My stomach turned. Mason was standing next to Ainsley, whispering something in her ear. She laughed. My chest tightened. My throat dried. Then my seat neighbor, the one from before, Rob, reappeared beside the bar. He was holding a cocktail and staring at me. Not Mason. Not Ainsley.
Me.
He raised his glass in a mock toast. Then he mouthed something. He's not yours. I blinked. He was gone again. I pushed through the crowd, looking for Mason. He wasn't at the table. Not by the bar. Not on the dance floor. I checked my phone.
No texts.
No missed calls. I opened Find My iPhone. We had shared location enabled. Mason's pin was moving. North Wing. Restricted staff area. I followed. Down the hallway. Past the signs that read private, no entry. A quick scan of the room labels. Storage. Kitchen overflow. HVAC. Electrical. The last door was cracked. Inside, cold. Industrial. And Mason. He stood with his back to me, speaking into a phone. Low, urgent. I stepped closer.
Yeah, he said.
She hasn't figured it out yet, but she's starting to look.
Pause.
I can't hold her off forever, especially not after what's on that drive. My pulse snapped. I backed up, hitting the wall.
Apan clan somewhere. Loud.
Metal on tile.
Mason spoon.
Erica, he called. I didn't answer. I ran. I darted through the side exit, around the estate. No plan, just flight. The gardens blurred. Music faded. Heart pounding. A text popped onto my screen. Unknown number. You were never meant to come back. Mason was hiding something. And the wedding was the stage.
Đã dùng 70% bộ nhớ nếu hết bộ nhớ, thì bạn không thể lưu tệp vào đời dài hoặc sao lưu vào Google Photo.
I didn't stop running until the lawn opened beneath my feet, the estate glowing behind me like a fortress. Music thumped through the glass walls. Laughter.
Toasts.
A world I didn't belong to. My phone buzzed again. Unknown. Go back inside. Watch the stage. I froze. Watch the stage? Before I could think, the ballroom doors swung open, and a wave of heat, perfume, and camera flashes spilled out. 100 bodies shifting. 100 eyes pointing toward the front. And there, under a chandelier dripping with crystal, Mason stood. Glass raised.
Smile gone.
My heart thudded once.
Twice.
The kind of thud that warns you not to move.
He wasn't supposed to speak.
Not at her wedding. But he took the mic anyway.
Cut scene.
Guests whispered. Chairs scraped. Ainsley stiffened beside Connor, her face still painted in bridal glow but draining shade by shade. Good evening, Mason said.
Calm. Too calm.
There are things that need to be said tonight. A ripple of confusion spread. My throat tightened. Rob Caldwell appeared near the platform, hands clasped behind him like he'd been waiting for this exact moment. His gaze flicked to me, then back to Mason.
No. No, no, no.
Mason cleared his throat. Some truths fight to stay hidden. But lies, they rot in the dark. People shifted uncomfortably. Someone laughed under their breath. Someone else hushed them. I felt myself moving closer, slipping through rows of chairs and couture dresses. My pulse hammered in my ears. When someone once told me, Mason continued, that secrets always demand a debt, I didn't listen. That line. He'd said that to me once. Half asleep. After my father's funeral. He looked directly at me now. Directly. Like this was for me.
Like this was about me.
And debts, he said softly, always come due.
Cut.
The projector behind him flickered. A bright flash washed over the room. Then a frame appeared. A dark cellar.
Atin siya.
My father's voice, hoarse, frantic. Guests gasped. Ainsley grabbed Connor's arm. Lenora stood, rigid, trembling. Mason didn't move. The footage sharpened. My father arguing with someone just out of frame. Then a hand appeared.
Male.
Wearing Connor's signet ring.
No. Iwis para. No.
It can't.
Cut.
The audio glitched. The screen froze. A high-pitched squeal sliced across the ballroom speakers. And then, the power died. Screams erupted. Glass shattered. Chairs toppled. Darkness swallowed everything. A hand grabbed my wrist so hard I almost fell. Mason. I whispered. No answer. Another yank, stronger this time. Mason, stop, what are you? But then a voice, warm breath at my ear, whispered. Don't go with him. The grip loosened. My vision adjusted in the dim emergency lights, and I spun.
Rob.
His hand still halfway lifted toward me. His face half-lit, half-shadow. You need to come with me, he said.
Now. No, Ibra.
Mason needs. Erica. His voice sharpened. He isn't where you think he is. A cold rush crawled over my skin. Before I could react, someone shoved past us. Ainsley, dress torn, makeup smeared, pushing through the crowd toward the exits. Connor behind her, dragging her by the wrist. Lenora wasn't running. She was scanning, searching.
For me.
Her eyes locked onto mine through the chaos. A stillness, a recognition, a threat. Then she moved.
Cut scene.
Rob grabbed my arm, pulling me behind a toppled tablecloth, shielding me from sight. You need to listen to me, he hissed. You think your fiancé came here to protect you? I tried to pull away. His grip tightened. He didn't, Rob said. He came to contain you. I stopped breathing for a second.
No. Y whispered.
You're lying. Think, he said. Why did he delete his email history? Why did he meet Connor twice, last month? Why did he lead you here after your father died? My heartbeat crashed against my ribs. I don't believe you. You should, Rob answered. Because you're not the first woman who trusted him.
Cut.
A tray clattered. A woman cried. Someone yelled for security. Smoke drifted from the corner where a candle had fallen. The air filled with heat. Rob pulled me toward the side corridor.
We have to get out, he said.
Before he finds you. He wouldn't hurt me, I snapped. Rob looked at me, pity in his eyes. Erica, you still think he stood up there tonight for justice? He leaned closer, his voice like a blade. He stood up to bury you without getting his hands dirty. Everything in me fractured at once. I tried to speak. A scream cut through the darkness before I could. A man's scream. Mason's. I turned toward the sound, toward the chaos, toward the stage, toward him. But a hand clamped around mine.
Spoon.
And the man holding my hand wasn't my fiancé.
Đã dùng 70% bộ nhớ nếu hết bộ nhớ, thì bạn không thể lưu tệp vào đời dai hoặc sao lưu vào Google Photo.
He didn't speak.
He just held my hand. Not soft, not reassuring. Like a directive. It wasn't Mason. It was Rob. We moved fast. Past the toppled chairs. Past a woman screaming into her phone. Past the servers frozen mid-shock, still holding trays like soldiers under fire. Rob opened a door behind the service bar with a key that didn't belong to a guest. A narrow stairwell yawned before us. Concrete. Dusty.
Old.
This is the part of the house they stopped renovating, he said. We descended into cold. I didn't ask where we were going. I already knew. The cellar. The light bulb above us buzzed, casting everything in jaundiced yellow. Cobwebs laced the beams. The smell hit first, mildew and something older. Dead wood. Forgotten truth. This is where they buried him, Rob said. I stopped. Not literally, he added. Figuratively. Financially. Legally. He walked to the far wall. Pried open a slat behind an empty wine rack. Reached inside. Pulled out a leather ledger. Tied in twine. This was your father's. He kept it hidden. My hands trembled when I took it. The pages were brittle. Ink faded. But the numbers, they were all there. Bank names. Routing codes. Shell companies tied to Vail Trust Holdings, Shore Family Estate LLC, and LR Consolidations. Lenora Ruth Shore. My mother. Rob flipped to the middle. A note, scrawled in my father's handwriting. I knew his loops. His slashes. He always wrote like he was racing time. If someone finds this, they're already close. Erica, don't trust Mason. Not until you see what I saw. My knees buckled. You said he was here to contain me, I whispered. Not protect me. Rob nodded once. He's been feeding Connor information for months. Texts. Calendar screenshots. Emails you deleted. No, I shook my head. That's. Footsteps. Above us.
Loud.
Deliberate. Rob snapped the light off. Silence pressed like a hand over my mouth. The door creaked open. A beam of a flashlight scanned the room. Jagged, flickering. Rob pulled me behind a stack of crates. The beam passed. Kept moving. Then froze. On the ledger. Still open. Still glowing under the pale light.
Click.
The beam shut off. Silence again. Then the unmistakable sound of a lock clicking shut from the other side.
We were sealed in.
You locked it, I whispered. I did. Then who the hell just did it again? He didn't answer. The silence down there wasn't empty. It was thick. Heavy with breath I couldn't trace. Then,
Heat.
not much, but just enough. The air began to shift. Slow, then fast. A strange orange hue crept through the grates above. Smoke. Get down, Rob snapped. I dropped to the floor, choking. The vents, someone lit. We have to move. There's no exit. There is. He pointed to a boarded-up shaft in the wall. Metal grates. Dumbwaiter system. Pre-war. I stared.
It won't hold, I said.
It has to. He kicked it open. The metal groaned. He crawled in first. Hand reached back. Erica. Smoke curled around my ankles. I climbed in. We crawled upward. Narrow. Sharp edges. Dust in my eyes. Blood on my palms. The sound of cracking glass echoed above us. Screams. Sirens. We emerged into the kitchen. Empty. Fluorescent lights flickering. Half the staff gone. Plates shattered. Something burning in the trash can. A security guard ran past the window. No one saw us. Rob grabbed my shoulder. We can't stay. Mason. He grabbed my arm. He's not looking for you. He's looking for that ledger. He opened his coat. Slipped it inside. My pulse roared in my ears. You're sweating, he said. No, I said. I'm waking up. We crossed into the east hallway. Voices around the corner. Then Mason. Covered in ash. Tie gone. Jacket open. Hair soaked in sweat. His eyes found mine. Relief. Then fear.
He ran.
Erica. I froze.
He reached for me.
I thought you were dead, Jesus. Where were you?
He pulled me in.
I didn't move. He saw my face. Then he saw Rob. His hand dropped. We need to leave, Mason said.
Now.
Not until you tell me what the hell is happening. I'll explain everything. Just. No more lies. His jaw clenched. I did what I had to do. That's what people always say before they ruin someone. Rob stepped between us. She's not going anywhere. Mason stepped forward. Move. I won't let you sell her out again. Get out of my way. Rob reached inside his coat.
Gun.
My breath caught. Mason stepped back. Hands half raised. Don't be stupid. You don't get to call me that, Rob said. Not after what you did to her father.
Click.
Safety off.
Stop, I said.
No one moved. 1 second.
2.
Then, someone pulled the trigger.
And it wasn't me.
Đã dùng 70% bộ nhớ nơi hết bộ nhớ, thì bạn không thể lưu tệp vào đời dai hoặc sao lưu vào Google Photo.
The gunshot cracked through the corridor like thunder in a vault. Mason staggered. Rob flinched. But neither of them bled. Behind them, at the end of the hallway, Lenora Shore stood, arms still extended. A pearl-handled pistol in her hand. Her face blank. I told you boys to be civil, she said calmly. But apparently, like your father, you needed reminding who this house belongs to. She stepped forward. Smoke still trailed from the barrel. You shot the ceiling, I said, breath shaky. I missed on purpose, she replied. Next time I won't. It wasn't just a threat. It was a verdict. Mason backed against the wall. Rob didn't lower the gun. My heart rattled against my ribs. Give me the ledger, Rob, she said. He didn't move. You think this is about inheritance? She added. This is about survival. You don't know what your father got himself into, what he dragged us through. But Erica, she doesn't need to drown in it too. She turned her gaze to me.
Soft.
Convincing. My love, she said, some secrets aren't meant to be exhumed. There's a difference, I said, stepping forward, between secrets and crimes. She laughed. It wasn't the laugh of a villain. It was maternal.
Pained.
Tragic. We cleaned up his messes for decades, she whispered. You think this is the first time your father went too far? You think this is the first fire I've put out in this goddamn house? Her voice cracked. He was going to ruin all of us, Erica. You weren't supposed to see that side. Behind her, more footsteps. Not just staff this time. Police. Someone had called them. Probably Mason. Sirens outside. blue and red lights bleeding through the stained glass windows. "Time's up," Rob said. Lenora turned. "Raise the gun again." Too late. A deputy shouted. "Put it down."
She did. Gently.
Elegantly. Like setting down a teacup.
Cut scene.
In the ballroom, everything was chaos. Guests escorted out. Tables overturned. The dance floor, once polished and glowing, now smeared with soot and red wine. I sat on the edge of the stage. The same stage Victoria had posed on hours earlier, holding a champagne flute, smiling for the cameras. Now her dress was torn, her hair undone. She stood across the room, arguing with Mason, her husband, my ex-fiancé, our mutual traitor. "You were supposed to keep her quiet," Victoria hissed. "I tried," Mason muttered. "You kissed her at the rehearsal dinner." "That wasn't the plan," he snapped. "No," she said, voice rising. "Because it sure looked like you enjoyed it." I froze. Rehearsal dinner.
Quiche.
My blood ran cold. He wasn't acting at dinner. The look he gave me in the garden. The stolen moment by the pond. The whispered apology before the toast. They weren't scripted. They were real. And worse, Victoria saw it all. That's why she made me sit behind the pillar. That's why she refused to name me maid of honor. She'd known, from the start, that Mason wanted something more than obedience. He wanted out. "You think loving me fixes this?" I'd once said to him. "No," he'd replied. "But it means I'll burn with you." Apparently not. Rob sat beside me. "You good?" he asked. I nodded. "I think so." "You will be." He handed me something small. A flash drive. "What's this?" "Your father's digital backups. Bank transfers, encrypted emails. Everything we couldn't prove before, now we can." I stared. It was real, tangible, the evidence that could bury them all. "Why give it to me?" I asked. "Because you're not scared of the truth." Cut to black. 3 days later. Downtown Denver. I walked into the offices of Phelps, Green, and Morales, white-collar criminal defense, whistleblower division. The receptionist looked up. "Appointment?" "No," I said. "But I think they'll want to see me." I handed over the flash drive. The receptionist glanced down, then looked up fast. "You're Erica Shore?" "Yes." She picked up the phone. One moment. While she called upstairs, I stood there, watching my reflection in the glass door. Hair tied back, blazer sharp, eyes cold. Dad used to say, "Truth is a weapon, but only if you know when to draw it." I drew it. The conference room was sterile. 3 attorneys. 1 recorder. I placed the flash drive on the table. "This implicates several individuals," I said, calm and measured. "My mother. My sister. Possibly executives at AMC and Nolan Holdings. Money laundering. Tax evasion.
Fraud.
And potentially obstruction." A pause. "And what's your role in all this?" the senior partner asked. "I was the target," I replied. "Then the witness.
Now.
I'm the hammer." That night, my phone rang. No caller ID. I picked up. A voice I hadn't heard since I was 17. "Erica," it said. "You opened a door you don't know how to close." My breath caught. "Who is this?" "You know who. You're dead."
The voice laughed.
Then hung up. Not everyone who's buried stays underground.
Đã dùng 70% bộ nhớ nếu hết bộ nhớ, thì bạn không thể lưu tệp vào đời dai hoặc sao lưu vào Google Photo.
The courtroom smelled like old wood and ink, like history being rewritten. Lenora sat on the defense bench, her posture immaculate, hair pulled into a severe bun. A ghost of the woman she once was.
She didn't look at me. Victoria did.
From the gallery, her eyes pierced through me, not with hatred, but fear. Real, tangible fear. Because now she knew I had nothing left to lose. And when someone has nothing left to lose, they become the most dangerous thing of all. The prosecution played the recording. Rob's voice clear. The funds were laundered through Shore family trust accounts, mostly via the fictitious construction contracts.
Click.
Lenora's voice followed.
Come.
Steely. Then make sure it doesn't show. Burn the paper trail. If Erica finds out, we all go down. No reaction from her. She didn't blink. After the session, I stepped outside. Crisp autumn wind. Dry leaves skittering across the marble courthouse steps like forgotten secrets. Rob joined me. He looked tired, lighter somehow. They offered her a plea deal, he said. I nodded. She'll take it. She asked for one thing.
What?
To talk to you.
Cut scene.
They put us in a side room. Monitored. One chair apart. She didn't smile. You look like him, she said. I didn't respond. He was brilliant, dangerous, and deeply broken. I tried to contain him, Erica. I did everything to keep you and Victoria safe. But he didn't leave me many options. No, I said. But you had one. She nodded slowly.
I chose survival. I chose legacy over morality.
And now, all I have is guilt. Silence. Then, softly, I still love you, you know. I looked her in the eye. That's the part that hurts most. Cut to black. 6 months later. I was back in the city. New apartment. Small.
Clean. Mine. No marble. No ghosts.
Just me and a desk and a French press. Some mornings I woke to silence and panicked. Still waiting for footsteps behind the door. Still expecting a whisper in the dark. But it never came. The shadows no longer followed. I started teaching again. Civic ethics. Corporate transparency. Funny how the girl who once couldn't get a seat at her sister's wedding now stood in front of 100 bright-eyed students, preaching accountability. Truth isn't a luxury, I told them. It's a liability, until it becomes a weapon. One girl in the front row raised her hand. Do you regret it? She asked. I smiled.
No.
Because the only thing worse than telling the truth is living a lie.
Cut scene.
The estate was sold. Proceeds frozen in escrow pending final settlements. Victoria disappeared from the tabloids. Lenora began her sentence. 18 months, minimum security, but a fall from her throne nonetheless. Mason? He sent a letter. 3 lines. I burned it unopened. Some nights, I still dream of the wedding. The flowers. The laughter. The polished wood floor where I stood behind the pillar. Invisible. Disposable. But now I know. That pillar wasn't a punishment. It was protection. A place to watch them all fall apart without being pulled under. Rob met me at the bookstore on 7th and Holloway. He brought coffee. Wore that crooked smile. Said something about how forgiveness is a long game, not a short bet. We didn't talk about the trial. We didn't talk about the ledger. He handed me a worn copy of a novel instead. It's about survival, he said, but also redemption. Does everyone make it? I asked. He shrugged. Enough do. On the back flap, a quote caught my eye. We are not what they did to us. We are what we do next. I walked away from the fire. From the lies. From the name. I wasn't ashore anymore. Just Erica.
Whole. Scarred. Free.